Hello everyone, just wanted to go through another Zenbot video of what I'm finding particularly useful in this current market condition and what I'm looking for over this weekend that I find really useful, and I wanted to share that with people once again. So this scan here, this is what I'm using. Again, I haven't named it because I'm lazy, but this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at 10 billion market cap options delta exposure, which I'll talk about later, of 25%. So I'm looking for those picks that have some put involvement, basically, and that's just my minimum that I'm looking for. Minimum price of 10, don't want anything lower than that. 200 SMA, can turn this one off. I've turned it on off. Again, I've flicked around with different settings on these. This one I'm just using at the moment. These two I really like, I've been using, so SMA sandwich and SMA magnet. And yes, I use minimum average volume. I want some liquidity to get in and out of these positions, and yeah, real relative volume I usually have turned on, but not at the moment because over the weekend sometimes there isn't some RVOL, and RVOL measurements, the data's updating basically, and I've excluded some specific sectors that I'm not particularly interested in at the moment. But yeah, it gives us a long list, and this is just my settings. I mostly copy these and look at them in TC2000 because I find it easier to go from that because I have lots more indicators and all those sorts of bits. But already a good one there is Apple, right? Good one. And that's on my hit list. So I filtered down lots of these. I've been through the lists. There are some good picks in here. Not all of them are for me, but depending on what you're trying to trade, doesn't it? So what I'm trying to trade, I guess that SMA magnet that I talked about, is I'm looking for those stocks that are under the 200 SMA. So DKNG, here's a great example. This is even actually a very good example, and this is why I like the sandwich one a little bit, is I want them to be almost under it and finding resistance at this level, because my market thesis for the week, if I just show you my market thesis, is a couple of different scenarios. And what I'm looking for is a pullback to those SMAs. This is a great breakout, we know, on the across the 100 and 200 SMA on this is the S&P 500, and I've got a couple of different scenarios here that I've mapped out. But I'm looking for the purple one to be potentially my most likely scenario. So it's kind of tied with 4 and 2. 2 is the orangey one, I think it is. But it's bearish, basically. So -1, 0 is neutral. And yeah, what I expect, one of my scenarios, or a few of my scenarios, is a pullback. I expect a pullback to those SMAs, and I want to evaluate how does that perform. And what I expect, so I will be trying to play this move here this week. Not much news this week, no earnings really of significance. I think Nvidia is the week after. Try play this move here, and they could even be starting positions, but they're going to be bearish positions. If we start to bounce, which in the green line, what I would doing for my green line is looking for stocks that maintain their strength, have support beneath them, and I have different scans for that, but I'm just focusing on the bearish one for today. So what have I found that I like on here? DKNG, just mentioned, already rejecting right off that 200 SMA. So this green line here is the stock, and these other lines are the market and the sector, and it's kind of my relative strength indicator. I didn't design this. This is from Dan from Real Day Trading. And yeah, what we're looking for is, again, it's already rejected off here. It's got below that anchored VWAP from earnings, and it's potentially about to break through the SMA. Really nice potential option for a day trade. Get a bit worried about that support here, but I like it. I'm keeping an eye on it. Amazon, that was a slightly different search, but again, same sort of thing. I want stocks that are stuck at this level. Upstart, another one. So I think this is post-market here. So that's where it's up to, right through that SMA potentially. But that's where it finished. But again, it's already rejecting off that 200 SMA level. Really nice, showing weakness on the D1. The volume's decent, I guess, coming back there, but this is why it's on my shortlist. It's a possible option. Again, we could have support here potentially if we drew that like that as a trend line, so possibly. But again, if we break through that, that could be a nice trade to take through. And again, it's just trying to filter those down. Novo Nordisk, sorry, never even got near as SMA really. So yeah, it was on the magnet search, I think, but isn't potentially anymore. But I picked it up and I've been keeping an eye on it since it's got near it. So I was skeptical whether it would break up. It actually never triggered this upward trending slope that I put there because I was hoping to get above it and then reject off. But it's already kind of potentially beating me to it. But good option, right? So it has maybe some support above it, but not as close as I would have liked. But it has long D1 void available here. So this is what we can pick up. And again, I'm just trying to pick up those scenarios. Same with Algen, this is what I like, but I would have loved that on the 50 SMA because there's just nothing but clear water ahead of us. But even here to here is a good move. That's $18. That's a solid move. And some of these stocks might be breaking down very early next week, potentially. Google another one near that SMA has room to come back down. And again, if it were to say gap up or be up here and starts to reject off, even around here, say 165 level, you've still got, $5 to work with. That's a good amount of money. And same with AFRM. Nice, can come in here, maybe a bit too much resistance in there. These are some other ones that, again, I've been keeping an eye on. Don't want to see the evaluate that bounce as it comes up. But what I like about Marvel and Apple is just terrible, pretty weak over those SMAs. Same with Apple, just barely getting over it really. So would like that and would be looking for that to dip back down. Might be a good trade, keeping an eye on it, seeing what's happening. So NVO, keep calling it Nova. It's Nova Nordisk, not Vosco. But this is why, coming back to that options flow, this is what I like about it. Gives us an indicator of where some support and resistance might be. So there's a lot of puts, much more than calls, for that $65 level. So we've dipped below that, and obviously there's a lot of puts there. Some puts here as well, expiring this week for $64. So there's a lot of incentive basically to push that stock down, and the closest one after that is going to be that $60 level, which is pretty common. There's every $5 there's usually the common areas. So if I was taking NVO, it's good to know knowledge wise that we have, that 60 level, for example, next month might come into it. So we look at NVO, where is 60? Because sometimes we all have that moment sometimes where something gets to 60 and you're like, why has it stopped there? Why has it stopped on 60? Or, those sorts of things. And it's always around support resistance. You can kind of see here from some price analysis that maybe there is going to be some resistance here, potentially. So it's just good to keep that in mind as you have hit profit targets. If we get stuck there, kind of know why. But again, a $4 move is nice. And that's just what I wanted to talk about for Zen Scanner. Just really useful. Lots of different options you can use. Again, looking at NVO, why is it a good pick as well? Not that it's my pick, but it's got lots of, so it's strong towards the end of the day. That's what that one's saying, but still has that weak daily. We know it's a compression break in the gap, etc., etc. It's got lots going for it, which is really quite handy. And there's lots in here. Week daily is always a fantastic one that I really like, and especially a D1 compression break. That's probably my most favorite one. So really useful. Just wanted to share that. Thanks.